All right, we are, of course, going to take you to this live development now in Brakpan, where we understand two of the Madlanga Commissioners are set to visit the home of the slain witness D, namely Mr. Marius van der Merwe, and that is, of course, the delegation arriving there at the home of Mr. Marius van der Merwe. As you can see, they're making their way. I suppose they are set to bring their condolences to the family of Marius van der Merwe. And SABC News reporter Chriselda Lewis is there and currently monitoring all these developments, and she joins us live for the update. Chriselda, it's good to have you with us. So please paint us a picture of what is currently unfolding at the home of slain witness D. We can see, of course, a slew of cars there arriving. Have the commissioners, in fact, can you confirm, arrived to pay their final respects to the family?
Well, we're live to you from Boksburg this afternoon. These are live pictures of commissioners from the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry that have arrived here at the home of assassinated Marius van der Merwe. And as you can see from where we are, some flowers are being brought in, and from where I am, as you can see, walking in there, two commissioners from the Madlanga Commission, Advocate Sandile Khumalo SC, as well as Advocate Sesi Baloyi SC, who are walking into the house carrying some flowers. Carrying the flowers there is the spokesperson of the commission. And we did get word a bit earlier on that the commissioners from that commission will be visiting the home here today. And of course, the assassination, you'd recall, obviously coming as a shock to the nation, as witness D, as he was referred to, was killed. And while the motive, as the commissioners from the Madlanga Commission come to pay their condolences here today, there's still speculation that it could have been linked, that's part of the speculation at this stage, could have been linked to his testimony at the inquiry. But you would recall, of course, that police had indicated that there were three persons of interest that they believed could assist in solving this particular case. Other news, of course, is that one of the vehicles believed to have been used has also already been located by police. One of those sending condolences amongst the many shocked South Africans, President Cyril Ramaphosa offering his condolences to the family, friends and the colleagues of Marius van der Merwe, who was of course a Brakpan-based security industry member and former Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department official. You'd recall he'd recently testified before the Madlanga Commission before meeting his assassination here. He had been shot multiple times, you'd recall, Alicia, in full view of his family outside this very home on the 5th of December 2025. This was just last week, Friday. The president extending his condolences to the family, you recall, and basically said, and I'd quote, he said, while law enforcement agencies are trying to establish the circumstances leading to this heinous act, he said he was appalled and saddened by the attack on the former public servant who recently served the cause of justice and integrity by testifying at the Madlanga Commission. And, President Cyril Ramaphosa, you recall, established the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into Criminality, Political Interference and Corruption in the criminal justice system, known as this Madlanga Commission. So the two commissioners are here today to pay their condolences to van der Merwe's family. And the president also indicating that his thoughts are deeply with them. They're traumatized. You can only but imagine the words that we've been hearing from, close friends as well as neighbors. They've been traumatized by the circumstances of what happened, talking about the loud bang of noise that they heard on the 5th of December when this heinous crime was being committed. And the president basically urged law enforcement agencies to undertake a thorough investigation into the matter and to ensure that the perpetrators do face justice. Now, Alicia, just a few moments ago, you'd spoken to the AfriForum, and Barry Bateman was speaking to you, and you would recall, of course, that part of the testimony there by Van der Merwe basically spoke to, Emmanuel Mbenze. That's the interview you just conducted now with AfriForum. He was a father of 5 who'd allegedly been tortured and murdered by law enforcement and private security officers before being dumped in a dam. So the family has now turned to AfriForum's private prosecutions unit. They want justice. They say that they only learned about the disturbing details of Mbenze's death for the first time when Marius van der Merwe, whose home we are at here this afternoon, was also known as Witness D, testified at the Commission and admitted to participating in the torture in an attempt to defeat the ends of justice. So what we also learned, and it's part of what Barry Bateman had spoken about a few moments ago there, Alicia, is that on the morning of Van der Merwe's scheduled testimony at the Madlanga inquiry, an investigator from IPID, the Independent Police Investigative Directorate, had warned the family that details about Mbenze's death would emerge, and that certainly did at Van der Merwe's testimony at the Commission of Inquiry, the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. You'd know that his body was discovered the following day. He was murdered on the 15th of April 2022 at his home in Brakpan. Here in this particular area, we're also in the area of Brakpan, and his body was discovered the following day at the Duduza Dam in Nigel with his car keys and driver's license in his pocket. So today, these cars that are parked here today, it is part of the condolences that are being paid to Van der Merwe's family. And 2 of the commissioners, of course, have arrived here just a few moments ago carrying flowers. And those 2 commissioners, of course, being Advocate Sandile Khumalo SC and Advocate Sesi Baloyi SC. The chairperson of the Commission, Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga, is not here this afternoon, but we were alerted to that fact a little bit earlier on this afternoon. So you would know that, the investigation itself is still at a very, very premature stage, with police telling us that there were 3 persons of interest that they had been talking to who might be able to shed light on Van der Merwe's assassination. And of course, persons of interest does not mean that those individuals have been arrested. Police would believe that those individuals might be able to share some details with regard to what happened here on that Friday. Very devastating. This community still remaining in shock, because you would know that Van der Merwe was shot multiple times in full view of his family, which is obviously very devastated at this stage. And the manner in which, of course, the media have moved back from the house, you would see that it's been cordoned off here once again. The media have moved back because the family is still very traumatized by what has happened. And this is a community that is not feeling safe at this particular time. Just some of the conversations that I had a little bit earlier on, you can tell the community itself remains traumatized. And they are, they spoke about hearing some gunshots on that Friday, and basically said it had been loud bangs. So you can imagine if that had been heard by neighbors, the trauma that this family in particular is going through. And I've seen statements from unions here in the country, statements from the public, all expressing great concern about what has taken place. And there have been many calls from different quarters about what needs to happen going forward. Yes, the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry is on a break now. It's going to resume in the new year. That will be the second round of testimonies that, of course, will be called, or witnesses that will be called. But one would only imagine that there would be, following the assassination of Van der Merwe, there will be a conversation, and I'm sure in the coming days we will probably hear something about that relating to, what will be the way forward in terms of what happens next. How are the witnesses going to be treated? This was Witness D, you'd recall, when he took the stand. But after he had been assassinated, we heard of his name. Everybody knows of his name now. And certainly what the way forward will be in terms of the witnesses who will be testifying in future. What action will be taken to ensure their safety? But in case you've joined us, breaking news at this hour. Two commissioners of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, and that is, of course, Advocate Sandile Khumalo SC, as well as Advocate Sesi Baloyi SC, have arrived at the home of the assassinated, slain Marius Flum van der Merwe, and carrying flowers. They're here to pay their condolences. Alicia?